Alright, so it's finally time to put the lift on my 1995 Isuzu Rodeo, Honda Passport, whatever you call this thing. Good afternoon, everybody. It is time to finally put the lift on my Honda Passport, aka Isuzu Rodeo. And I got some 33-inch tires for it. We got some new leaf springs. We got some new shocks, all of that. But the one problem is we have to address some rust issues on the frame here before we can do that. And in order to address these rust issues, we have to pull a gas tank, which I wanted to do anyways. And on top of that, if you can see daylight through there. There's quite a bit of room between this gas tank and the body. So my plan is to repair the frame and do a gas tank lift to get this gas tank up a little bit. Because right now, it hangs a little low. There's room for improvement for sure. So that's where we're going. We're gonna get this thing up and get the gas tank out of it. Okay, I don't know what I just missed because the camera did a weird glitch and I almost guaranteed that footage was lost, but we got the hitch off. The hitch was right here. We got the skid plate off of the gas tank, and we're about to drop the gas tank down. All the bolts came out, which is shocking, honestly. So I'm super happy about that. So let's bring this thing down. So it's got it's over this lip on this side, so you kind of have to, ooh, you know what? I'm going to have to disconnect the filler neck. Yep. So, okay. Alright, well, that should be it. I'll have to rehack wires apart and alright. There it is. Yeah, we got a lot of fuel left in here. Might have to just put this in something else. Okay, I'm just going to poke around a little bit and I'm going to see how bad this is. From initial looks, it's not that bad. So, alright, let me take you under here. Let's see. Alright, so it's really not that bad under here. It's all surface. There's no holes that I can find. So I think we're gonna be okay. Now, if you go over here, so here's the two holes that I found when I was working on this. And then basically I had the wire wheel and I was going hard on the wire wheel. And I found these two holes here. And then over here, I've got this one, and then what really worried me was this one because it's kind of a longer one. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to end up plating this in here just to be safe, but I think structurally it's fine. This is a fully boxed frame. I'm going to clean all the stuff, try to get all the stuff out of the inside of the frame rail and just clean everything up as much as possible. But in order to make that job a lot easier, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get all of this stuff out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the shocks first, and then we're going to pull the springs. And I gotta decide whether I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the axle out of the way, or if I'm just gonna put it on stands and leave it where it is. The only downside to pulling the axle is I gotta pull the brake line, and it is crusty. So I'd probably pull it off of here. I know I could get it off of here because I think I've already had it off of here on the bottom, but it's crusty up here and it may not come loose. And the clip probably definitely won't come loose off of there. So yeah, I gotta get everything out of the way so we can actually get in here and do some metal work. I gotta cut these. I'm gonna end up cutting these gas tank mounts off of the frame, and then I'll attach them to the gas tank and then basically squish this up in here as far as I can. I took this 2x4, I think you guys missed this part. I took this 2x4 and I shoved it in above the gas tank fill to see if I could fit it, and I can. So it'll be able to go up at least 1.5 inches, which is pretty massive, I think. So I think that's gonna be kind of neat, you know, do something a little different other than just throwing some springs and stuff on here. So I'm gonna start ripping this thing apart, and we will get everything out of the way, and then we'll start grinding and wire wheeling and pour 15 in it once we get it all clean. But let's get all this junk out of the way. Alright, so everything has come out good so far, except for we just have this one hanger that is totally seized in here, and it'll come out. I put some anti-seize on it, might have to heat it up, but I just wanted to show you guys real quick because I'm going to go into the house. I guess I haven't seen if this one comes out of here. It's pretty stuck in there probably too. So we have springs broken in multiple ways. Okay, so this spring actually has a broken spring right here. And I knew about that when I bought it, and I'm like, oh man, so that's why I ordered these Old Man Emu springs, which are over here waiting. Really nice, so it'll be a good replacement. But what I didn't know about was this one. I thought this one was okay. Where'd the dang end of it go? Alright, so it is missing a big chunk that holds this in here. So basically it was just resting on there, the weight of it, but I guess if it would have stretched out enough, it could have popped out of place. This whole part that wraps around here and holds this bushing in is broken and gone. So I don't know what happened to this thing. I don't know if these things are just crappy springs to begin with, but that shackle came out easy. The bushings were wasted on it, so it really kind of came out easy. So really that's all we need, is to get that other shackle out and then get the shackle out of that spring. And I'm going to clean up the stock shackles because I think that I was thinking originally I was going to make some longer shackles, but we'll see. I'm going to put the stock ones back in because I put the 33s up next to the thing stock ride height and they would fit. So I think with the 1.75 inch lift on those springs, plus these are probably sagged out a little bit, so it'll probably be a little bit more than an inch and 3/4. We should be able to we'll be just fine with the 33s, so I don't think we'll have to do longer shackles. And there's not really much of a benefit to doing it anyway, so that's the plan. I'm gonna go inside the house, but I'm gonna come back out and I'm going to get that out and then start cleaning up the frame. I'm gonna have to knock these. Big thing is getting these off, extracting these off of here the best way I can, which this side's super easy, but the other side it has these tabs that come down, so we'll have to grind those off, try to get those off too. Maybe we'll just use a torch or something, but we got to get these off and get those cleaned up, and then we'll work on getting this plated and clean everything up so we can coat it. But that's the plan. So see you in a bit. All right, so it's the next morning. That light is so bright. Okay, it's next morning and I managed to get that guy out. I basically had to take the torch and melt the bushing and push it out, and they're there on the ground cooling. So I got both of those out. This one's looking pretty bad. It's got some rust on it, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. This one might be in the same shape. We shall see. What else? Basically at this point, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut these off. That's going to be a fun challenge. I see some welds here. And then we got this little strap here. That might be it, but we'll see. So I got to cut both of these off. This one, same deal. We got a weld here, weld here, weld here. And then we got a strap, two straps actually on the other side of this one in these two little pockets. So I got to cut these out. And then I got to come in here and get a mask on and just go to town with the wire wheel and the flapper wheel and just clean all this off. And then we will come in and paint it. Also, I'm gonna have to work on this too. Clean this all off, get this ready, make a plate to go on here, and then we'll get that plated up as well. So I gotta get the grinder. We have a lot of use with the grinder today, so let's get to work. Alright, so we've got our frame plates here. This part's clamped, and when I go to weld this, I'll clamp it. It needs to be pulled up just a little bit. I left a big gap here so I can actually put a weld in there, if you're wondering about that. So let's get to it. Alright, I gotta finish welding this. I'm gonna lower it down so I can get that top, see better on that top. Alright, there we go. I had to cut this exhaust hanger off and re-weld it on, but so I cut some holes in it for some extra welds there, and I got 3 under there, and then we've got 2 under there. But these ones are for there's bolts for the skid plate on the gas tank. So I had to make sure not to get weld in those holes, and I might have to chase that. Yeah, that's it for the frame bracing. What's next? I guess it's just clean up at this point, cleaning everything and getting it painted up. And then I wanted to tell you that we have to make new shackles because these things are wasted. Look at that. It's missing half the metal there. So, and it's not just that one. See, this one, I think this is the first one I got out, and it's in really good shape. I could reuse that. But this one, yep, same deal. Missing quite a bit of metal. That one, and we haven't even gotten this one apart, so I'm not going to even bother. So I'm going to have to get some bolts, and then I got some plate to cut out and make these, and I'll probably make them just a tad bit longer. But yeah, back to cleaning up and painting. Alright, good morning. We are back at it this morning. I've been out here for a couple hours getting things cleaned up and ready to go. We got our wings, or our mounts on our gas tank. I don't know why I'm calling them wings, but kind of look like wings. But we got those on there. And frame is cleaned up and ready to go, so we are going to jack this thing up. I'm going to put the filler neck back on here because that's basically the highest spot of the gas tank. So we're going to basically shove that up against the floor of the truck, or close to it, probably up against it because the rubber hose goes on there. I mean, we want to make it not too hard to get the hose on, but so we'll get it up there as high as we can, as reasonably possible, and we'll tack these guys in, and then we'll pull the gas tank back out and fully weld these, and then we'll be ready to actually paint the frame and everything. I think I got it cleaned up to about as good as I can get it. So yeah, let's do that. All right, here we go. That's good. Okay, so that's part one. Part two, we get this out of the way and we put the skid plate up there because we have to actually, whoa, that's weird. We have to actually cut the skid plate, one of the mounts. So let's see, so one of the mounts, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to get the bolts in there. Dang. Okay. So one of them, the one on that side actually bolts to this mount, and then the one on this side bolts to here. So the one on that side, I might have to take a grinder too because I don't think I can actually get into the bolts. The one on this side, we're going to have to actually cut that mount and cut a chunk of it out. And that'll kind of tell us how much we raised it. All right, let's see how close my just rough guesstimation of this, how far we cut this. Yeah, we gotta cut this side. gotta cut this side down, and then that's actually right where we want it. Okay, this side I gotta cut down now. Okay, try this again. Alright, so I'm going to get this side. I got to drill 2 new holes on this side. So I'll show you guys. Alright, so originally you can't really see it, but their 2 holes are just up here. The original ones that bolted through this bracket. So I'm going to drill, hopefully be able to get a drill bit in here and drill 2 new holes for that to bolt in. And then we'll go over there and we'll get it even, and we will get it up in there and get it tacked together. Okay, so I think I got it. Got it figured out here. Okay. All right, let's get this skid plate down. Oh. Oh, be careful there. All right. Oh. Still got gas in this thing. Not a lot. I managed to get most of it out of there, but still got gas in there. So these, you're gonna get a lot more weld on them maybe, but they had little straps that went from the frame out because they hung down. I don't know. I'm gonna add a little piece of metal in there. Actually, it was 2 on this one. But I can actually weld the straps, they're up here against the frame, so maybe that's enough. I think that might be enough. They're going to be impossible to cut out if I ever want to cut them out again, but I think that'll be good enough. We'll weld those straps back to the frame. Alright, we got our bottle swapped out so we can weld this sucker in. Alright, so the last thing we got to do, fabrication wise, before we can start just installing everything, is I got to make some shackles now because these are busted. And it's a huge pain in the butt because these things are metric. I found out I think they're M18s, and I don't have a drill bit for that, and the drill bit would be really expensive and it would be some sort of standard equivalent. So what I decided to do, long story short, we're going to 3/4. So if you take a 3/4 bolt, you can kind of shove it in here pretty easily. Once it's pressed into the spring, it might become an issue, so we'll just drill it out if we need to. But we're going to take, I already have a 3/4 inch drill bit, so I'm just going 3/4. So I'm going to make, we're going to make some shackles. They're going to be a little bit wider than the stock ones. They're going to be thicker. This is 3/8 plate, and I'm going to make them 1 inch longer. So I was looking at this, and this is about center to center. It's almost, it's not 3 3/4. It's like, it's 3 1/2. I bet it's about 3 1/2. It's a little over 3 1/2. Might be 3 5/8. Or 3 and I don't know. It's somewhere around there. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go 4 1/2 inches long, center to center. And I got to figure out how much more meat I want than that. So basically I'm going to take this piece of 4 inch wide 3/8 plate, and we're going to slice it down the middle, and we're going to make 4 equal plates, and then we're gonna drill them, and then we're gonna weld in a, I'm gonna weld in a spacer in between the shackles. I'll show you guys when we get to that part. But first I have to cut all this and well, I have to mark it out and cut it and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna get on that. It's gonna take me a little bit, but we're gonna get it done. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and just install these bushings, because I need to measure the distance or the width that the shackle needs to be, because I'm going to weld the support in between the two shackle plates. So we got these Old Man Emu bushings. This is just the stuff that's really made for this thing. They make a lot of stuff for Isuzus and Land Rovers and stuff like that. But we're going to go ahead and just get these installed so I can measure. And if I'm going to go ahead and get greased up, I'm just going to go ahead and just install all of them at once. So that's where we're going. This one's got a zip tie in it, so let's undo that. Alright, so our big ones go up here in the front of the spring. And we'll stay up. Okay. So let's get a little bit of grease here. Okay. Alright, it's going to be easier if I have a hammer here. Okay. And then the back ones don't have the sleeves, just that front one. So we'll lube this up real good, all sides. Alright, and then we got the other two that go up into the frame where the shackle hangs from. Well, I should have opened that bag before I got my hands all greased up. Alright, so we got that. Let's go ahead and just let's just hang these things while we're here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this guy and hang it from this side, just so it's off the floor. I don't want these bushings falling over and getting a bunch of crap in them. Alright, there's one. Where's the other one? They're not exactly lightweight. Alright, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and take some measurements here. We got about 3 3/4. We got about 3 3/4. think that's where we need to be. 3 3/4. So let's get rid of this and this. 3 3/4. So now I got to cut something to put in between the shackles. It's 3 3/4. All right, so I got these 2 pieces. What the heck? Oh, you know what? I think it was the other. No, what did I do? I got 2 different pieces. What did I do? 3 3/4. 3 1/2. Gosh dang it. That one's too short. Dang it. Yep. Okay. So I just cleaned this whole thing up, made it real nice, and I can't use it. So I think I'm gonna cut this one. I think this is the same tubing. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one down and hopefully get it right this time. Alright, so I got that one cut out. I still have to clean it up, but we got one the right same length. So let's go ahead, and I think the best way to do this is like this. Oh, are you kidding me? I gotta go get... How did I... Son of a gun. I'm gonna have to take these back and get longer bolts. I thought I got long enough bolts. I swear that I got long enough bolts, but apparently my calculations were wrong. Alright, so I'm going to clean these things up and paint them and call it a night. Alright, so I made these beautiful shackles. You know, they came out very nice, and I took them over to test fit them, and they seem kind of wide. You know, they're pretty dang wide. 2 3/4, not 3 3/4. They're exactly 1 inch too wide. So the good news is my bolts aren't too short. My bolts are going to be perfect. I was right about that. What I was wrong about is reading the numbers off the tape measure. So I primed and painted these. They came out really nice. I'm going to cut them apart and fix them. So that's what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm standing under the truck. I got those shackles fixed last night, and now it is the next night, and we're gonna put the gas tank back in. We're gonna put the gas tank heat shield back on, or not heat shield, the skid plate back on for the gas tank, and we're just gonna try and get a few things assembled. I don't know how far I'm gonna get, but we're gonna start with the gas tank. I gotta reconnect the wiring on that and stuff, so that's gonna take me a while, but we should be able to get that thing up in here and start getting this thing back together. So I wanted to show you guys the skid plate. You know, it's got a thick coat of Pour 15, so it looks pretty good. It's sealed up really nicely. It was a rusty piece of junk, and it still kind of is a rusty piece of junk, but the rust is now all sealed in it. So same thing on here. I did the frame. I guess I could show you guys a little better. I guess I haven't showed you much. So I finished the axle. When we did the diff cover and everything, we did the axle up until where the U-bolts were. And then we did the brakes when we had the brakes off the brake side. But anyway, so we got the rest of the axle, basically this part, all sealed up with the Pour 15. And then we got the frame all done. And then we got our new bushings in everywhere. And then we got the outside of the frame done. So it all looks pretty good. So now we're just gonna, like I said, we're just gonna start putting things back together, starting with the gas tank. Alright, so I got an update for you guys. You can see over here that I started putting the U-bolts on, and I wanted to check and see if our shocks fit, and they're nowhere close. So I don't know what I did. I ordered 4 shocks and they all seem to be the same, except for one of them, or 2 of them, are Skyjack are 8,000s and 2 of them are 7,000s. So we're gonna end up using the 8,000s on the front. They're the better shock, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with the other ones. I might sell them or something, but I did order some shocks that fit this. This thing has quite a bit of travel now. It's got about 9 inches of travel with it drooped all the way out before it actually hits the bump stop. So I found a shock that'll work for that, and I'll talk to you more about that when it gets here. But so we got a shock coming, and I just need to put the rest of these U-bolts on and trim them off. I can't even get my socket all the way up here because the U-bolts are too long. So I gotta trim these probably, and then tighten, and then probably trim them again, or tighten with like a wrench, but I don't think that's really even possible. So we're gonna get this other one on here, and that's gonna be about it until we get our shocks, because this is pretty much done, and then we're gonna move on to the front. Alright, I couldn't help myself but throw the tires on here and see what this looks like, and I am super happy with it. These springs are going to sag a little bit, I'm sure, because they're brand new, and I was super happy to see them squish out quite a bit, because this thing has a pretty good amount of droop. And the springs are not overly hard, so that's a positive too. I got the softer set of springs. You can get a heavier duty set if you're going to have a bunch of stuff on here, and overland, or whatever you want to call, whatever it's called nowadays. So I'm happy here. We're waiting on shocks for the rear. I'm gonna go ahead and just put this back up in the air. I just wanted to see what it would look like. I wanted to see how much that spring would flatten out, and I'm super happy about that, and feel how it gives pretty good. I think this is a good, that's nice. So let's see how, so these, oh gosh, certainly has a lot more give than the front does, but the front's barely off. So anyways, I'm done with this for tonight. Just wanted to get that stuff done, and we'll be back on the front tomorrow. Alright everybody, this video is running too long. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, and in the next video we will finish the lift. We will get the shocks on, we'll do everything to the front, we'll get all 4 tires on this thing and test drive it. So please smash that like button for me, hit the subscribe, smash the bell if you want to get notified of future videos coming out from DJ's Hot Rod and Fab. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.